So they elected representatives, what I'm parliamentarians or senators, to go and represent in Enugu. So every territory in Africa by then was under the League of Nations mandate. Ghana, the Gold Coast, Nigeria, Tanzania, there was no independent African country except Ethiopia. I mean, Liberia, yeah. So Southern Cameroon and Nigeria were already a people. Every African country, Ghana had Nkrumah. We had the Liberals, we had the Lumbas. They were all fighting for independence, but they were human beings. We too were fighting for independence. As early as 1940, the next slide please. As 1940, we had Southern Cameroonians who formed what call it the CYL. In 1940, to fight for independence of Southern Cameroon, not English or French. It was because they were human beings. They had a territory and they were supposed to be a people. So it was not about being French or English, no. It was the right to be self-governing, as every human being has it in this wide world. So the case I'm making here is that this is not a linguistic problem. We began fighting this struggle even before we were taken to join French Cameroon. By then, we were still administered from Nigeria, from Enugu, from Nigeria. But we were the same way Nnamdi Azikiwe was fighting in Nigeria, and his compatriots were fighting for independence. We were also fighting for independence. But guess what? When Nigeria got independence in 1960, before then, they had dissolved the League of Nations and now created a different structure that was supposed now the UN trustee to now administer these territories. Southern Cameroon was now being prepared for independence like every other territory. So you had Southern Cameroon, you had French Cameroon, you had Nigeria, every other territory was being prepared for independence. Next slide, please. Okay, and so okay, now, this slide shows us that the people of Southern Cameroon have been fighting for independence long time ago. It's as old as the history of colonization and the history of human rights abuse. When, after Nigeria got independence now, Southern Cameroon, and then French Cameroon was called République du Cameroon. They got independence 1960, like Nigeria 1960. Now, Southern Cameroons now, no, sorry, British Cameroons. We have Northern and Southern Cameroons. They were now left as a UN position territory without independence yet. But they had a government, they had prime minister, they had everything, they had the nation. So the plan now was to prepare them for independence like every other territory. For some reason, I'm not going to deeper internal politics. For some reason, the British representative, Sir Andrew Cohen, told the UN Council that, you know what, let's not give Southern Cameroons and Northern Cameroons independence. Let us give them a plebiscite to either join French Cameroon, which was a different country, but a whole different country, or Nigeria, a different country. They should either gain independence by joining Nigeria or French Cameroon. So that was the plebiscite. So let me say this again, please. Cameroon is not one country. We have two Cameroons. We have French Cameroon and British Cameroon, and we have Nigeria. British Cameroon was administered as a territory through Nigeria. When Nigeria got independence and Cameroon, they now made a plebiscite that let Southern Cameroons and Northern Cameroons, let them get independence either by joining French Cameroon or Nigeria. It was a political maneuver by Britain and France, which I won't go into it. Next slide, please. Okay, here we have now British Cameroons, which is found between Southern and Northern Cameroons. The plebiscite came in, it was marked by rating and everything else. And in that plebiscite, Northern Cameroons voted to join Nigeria, which is now called Nigeria now. That was Northern Cameroons. Southern Cameroons voted to join French Cameroon. And that later we call now the Federal Republic of Cameroon. So we have two countries, autonomous countries. They all had their prime ministers, head of government, and government seats. They came together as a confederation, federal country. Next slide, please. Okay, now, here we have the Federation of Free Cameroons now. There's a lot of internal I'm not going to go into that too much of internal problems here and mishaps. But the entire thing I'm going to explain here is that the people of Southern Cameroon are the people. From inception, from colonization, they are a unique people. And that deserves. Press next to Southern Cameroon. They've broken up from Nigeria, and now they've let them vote and join French Cameroon and have a federal republic. Two independent countries, equal status. Next slide. Just press next. Now we have next again. Now we have in 1972, the Cameroonian government under French Cameroon was the dominant of Cameroon. They now changed the constitution to form the United Republic of Cameroon, which went against the initial terms of the contract that it was supposed to be a federal country of two equal states. What happened now? French now became a dominant language, which means that my grandmother, I speak French and English. My grandmother does not speak French and English. My aunt doesn't speak French and English. Which means that if she goes to court, what happens? The lawyer will defend her in French. She does not understand French. If she meets a police officer on the street, he speaks to her in French. She doesn't understand French. If she is sick of malaria or stomach ache or anything, she does not have the human dignity to tell the doctor that please, I have stomach ache because she will speak in English and he doesn't understand English. Their humanity became violated. Next slide. As if that was not enough, all the structures of the country, this is a serious, structural, well-crafted 20th century assimilation of the people. Let me emphasize this. Before independence, this Cameroon, that was French Cameroon, was called the Republic of Cameroon. That was that country. We were called Southern Cameroon. Now, in 1984, they now changed the structure and the name back to the Republic of Cameroon, the Republic of Cameroon, which means, next slide now, which means that Southern Cameroons, go next again. Southern Cameroons now became left out. If we began with these two people, now we end this person. Where is this person? He has no option but to fight for his right of independence, of existence. He should not be extinguished. We are being exterminated. Psychologically, physically, spiritually, culturally. I want to emphasize this. Language, our colonial history, has become part and parcel of our lives. Our laws, our police, our transportation, our way of life, everything we did, education, was designed based on our colonial histories. For example, if you are to write a public exam in Cameroon, what happens? If you are like myself, the exam is in French. Now, the exam has to be translated to English on the morning of the exam in many cases. Which is not true, which is not fair. How can I compete with you? I am Anglophone, you are Francophone. We are going in for the same position, and the exam is in French. And I have to get a loose translation, and immediately it doesn't make sense. I am being disadvantaged. Most of the signposts are in French. The judiciary is in French. The military is in French. Everything has been Francophonized. And the thing here is that most of our people do not understand that system. So please, this is not an issue of linguistic differences. It's an issue of national, the human indignification of the people of Southern Cameroon. And as a human being, it is our responsibility to stand up and tell the world, and tell everybody all over the world, that please, let us come together and speak up for these people. These people are being exterminated. If we close our eyes, before we know it, they'll be extinguished. Everybody will be finished in Southern Cameroon. Next slide, please. Now we have AMBAZONIA. I told somebody after that Jan was going to rest Jan. I think we're going to cover this name. So now we have AMBAZONIA. I think she's the only Anglophone Cameroonian in the whole, right? Oh yeah. We have some people here. We have some of my friends here from Maryland. We're together in high school. Good. Can you guys come? Yeah. So we have. This is a very big deal for us because it is about our very existence. Yeah. So nationalism and activists in AMBAZONIA. Now we have the name AMBAZONIA. So the struggle of independence has now morphed, changed into a whole nation. Now we have a nation now called AMBAZONIA. That nation has 8 million people. That's 8 million people. The landmass is 42,710 kilometers square. This is a very large country. It is rich in oil. The Black Peninsula is in this region. It is rich in oil. It is rich in resources. We can govern ourselves. I can govern myself. I don't need anybody to tell me how to live. I can live by myself. Our people, our grandparents have been living by themselves. All we are asking for is that the world should not close their eyes when our people are being raped. This is not a linguistic internal problem. No, this is a problem that has been ignored from ages. And we need to stand up as a people. As the stories that happened in many parts of the world, from Bosnia right down to Rwanda, you name it. Eritrea and Ethiopia. There are other examples who struggled for independence. It is a human right. It's a fundamental human right. Every human being wants to express themselves. Please. I'm holding tears in my heart. I cry most nights. If I show you, I didn't do any images to scare you guys here. If I show you things I see on my phone, images, you will not want to eat tonight. Yeah, I want to spare you that so that you can have. But there's a genocide taking place in my country. Serious. And my entire family, me as a person, my entire family, I'm Anglophone. And Anglophone in Cameroon doesn't mean you speak English. No. Anglophone in Cameroon means that you are an indigene of the former British Southern Cameroon. You can be Francophone and speak English, but within Cameroon, it is a geographical and national context, please. It is not a linguistic problem, please. People keep making a mistake. This goes beyond linguistics. It goes beyond that. I'm going to take some 3 questions, please, before we answer. Just 3 questions. Does anybody have a question to ask, please?
So they want to separate themselves.
Okay, shall I ask that? So they want to separate themselves. Okay, now I want to say this. They do not want to separate because they were never one country before. Under the laws, they were not one country. They were a federation. If you get that right, of 2 independent countries, 2 autonomous countries that came together as a central government and some independent regions. So now the terms of that union were violated. So now those people now who want to re-establish their human desire for existence as an independent people. That was denied them in 1959 and 1960 when other countries got independent. No other country in the world should be. How can you ask somebody that become independent by either joining Nigeria or Cameroon? It doesn't make sense. That's not independence, right? Yeah, that's not independence. Independence means that can you by yourself govern the way you live, the way you design your laws, the way you design education? Can you independently make your currency? What goes to the next slide? Let me show something. Here are some examples of Cameroonian currencies. There is no single English word here, but I'm from Cameroon and I'm English. If you are in Cameroon and can't French, you are screwed up. This is the currency of Cameroon. Look at that currency. That's the bilingual country, so supposedly there is no English word. If I should have many other examples, which I don't have with me, but please, what I'm just trying to explain here is that this is not a linguistic problem. It's not an internal issue. It goes beyond that. It's an issue of human beings. That every human being in the world desiring to lead themselves. I know my time is up now. I have 15 minutes to do. My time is up. So, please, time is up, right? Yeah, my time is up. Yeah, so please thank you so much for coming. Thank you all the support you've given us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wallace, for that. I think you can see the emotion that is in it, especially when someone can relate and knows exactly what is happening, and it is a place that they grew up, right? And that is the emotion that we also want to bring into this, that when you're supporting, you need to know that there are people that have actually been affected, there are people that have left their houses, and that are now living as refugees in Nigeria and other surrounding countries, right? There are people that have lost their children, parents, families that have been destroyed, a bond that can, a gap that can never be filled again, right? Right now, I would like to acknowledge the Vice President of Equity and Diversity of the university, who also happens to be our patron, and she's in the house. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you very much for the guests that are just joining us, and we hope that people can continue to come in and support. The next person that is going to speak is Mwoki. He's from Kenya. I think he will do the most of introducing himself. Then he's also from Kenya, and then he's going to speak on the same topic. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, my name is Mwoki Boga. I am a PhD candidate in history. I come from Kenya, which is in East Africa. My dissertation is on the War of Independence in colonial Kenya, which is known as the Mau Mau War. And I say that just to make it clear from the outset that I have no expertise whatsoever in West Africa, in Cameroon. And so my comments are based not on any research or personal experience like Brother Rawlings, but just from my reflections as a Pan-Africanist. I follow news from the continent of Africa, news happening in the African diaspora from a Pan-Africanist perspective, and an interest in the politics and cultures and economics of people of African descent around the world. My reflections on this topic are based on what has been reported in the media. And one thing I found interesting is the coverage on what has been termed the Anglophone crisis. And I have found it interesting to listen to the coverage, especially in the Western media, but also in African media as well. And the coverage has depicted what has been happening in Cameroon as if it is purely a linguistic problem. So I'm glad that I'm speaking after Brother Rawlings, and I'm glad that he has emphasized the fact that it is not just, in fact, it is bigger than just linguistics. But when you listen to the news coverage on the so-called Anglophone crisis, you get the impression that it is French-speaking people who are fighting English-speaking people. You get the sense that the problem is Francophones versus Anglophones. The root of the problem began when there became a Francophone Cameroon and an Anglophone Cameroon. The solution of the problem is when Anglophone Cameroons and Francophone Cameroons decide to come and sit together. In other words, the problem has been so oversimplified in the coverage that when you have no deeper knowledge about the situation, then you never get a clear sense of what the conflict is really about. Now, I am not holding the media to a standard that is higher than normal, and I want to give you an example of where my criticisms of the media coverage, and especially Western media coverage of the Anglophone crisis, where my criticisms are coming from. In 2014, there was a conflict in East Africa that began in South Sudan. And if you keep up with African news, then you probably heard this week that there was a peace agreement that was signed in South Sudan. And in fact, I think a day or two ago, the opposition leader who had been living in exile, Dr. Riek Machar, he returned to Juba, which is the capital of South Sudan, and there's a lot of hope for peace in South Sudan. Now, in 2014, I was listening to the BBC cover the story of South Sudan, and the news anchor who was talking about the story talked about how the conflict was as a result of, quote, age-old ethnic conflict, end quote. That the conflict that was brewing in South Sudan, the youngest country in the world then and still now, was as a result of age-old ethnic conflicts. Now, interestingly, as soon as that story ended, this is around March 2014, the next story the next segment was about the Crimean crisis, where Russia had just annexed the territory known as Crimea, that is part of Ukraine. And the news anchor described the conflict that was happening in Ukraine as a geopolitical struggle. Now, in case you know nothing about the issue in Crimea, the Crimea is a part of Ukraine where you have Russian speakers, people who speak Russian, people who feel that they identify more with the Russian state, some, not everyone, who feel they identify more with the Russian state than with their own state of Ukraine. So there were some people in Crimea who actually supported the annexation by Russia. The point of that is, in many ways, what was happening in Crimea was an identity issue. It had the hallmarks of identity, but how it was covered in the news, it was described as a geopolitical struggle. So what is happening in South Sudan is age-old ethnic conflicts. What is happening in Crimea is geopolitical struggles. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, geopolitical struggle sounds like a more complicated description. It sounds like a more nuanced analysis of what is happening in Crimea. Age-old ethnic conflicts sounds like it's people of African descent doing what they do best, which is fight. It gives the notion that African people are always fighting because African people are Africans. You know, it gives the sense that African conflicts have no nuance, they have no complexity, that at the root of African conflicts is purely the question of identity. And I have a problem with that because obviously that is untrue. That is, one, it is racist because it dehumanizes African conflicts, it dehumanizes African people, and it reduces them just to conflicts over identity, conflicts over how they identify, the language or the ethnicity that they identify. But when you call something a geopolitical struggle, then you're realizing that it has to do with resources, it has to do with access to resources, it has to do with who gets state jobs, who gets state contracts. You know, it is more complex. And Brother Rawlings, again, has done a good job by talking about how much oil is found in the Anglophone-speaking parts of Cameroon. In other words, we know that there is a deeper context. There are deeper issues, and they do not just revolve around identity. My point, as I conclude, is that one, it is inaccurate to reduce the conflict in the Anglophone parts of Cameroon as purely an identity issue, and I'm glad Brother Rawlings has emphasized that. Number two, which in certain ways is even more important, is that this overemphasis on identity when it comes to African conflicts is a legacy of colonialism. One of the traumas, one of the lingering legacies of colonialism in Africa is a state, a nation state that only operates within the framework of identity. And what I mean by that is, if you study the history of colonization in Africa, especially if you study colonies that had a lot of white settlers, European immigrants who had moved to these colonies, the nation state in these colonies operated purely on the basis of identity. I'm talking about countries like the Ivory Coast, countries like Kenya, countries like Mozambique, countries like Zimbabwe, South Africa, countries, former colonies where you had large European populations. If you study how the nation state, the colonial state operated, it operated on the basis of inclusion and exclusion. In colonial Kenya, which is the part that I studied, schools, education was on the basis of identity. The best schools were for Europeans, the second best schools were for Asians, the poorest schools were for Africans. Housing, the best neighborhoods were for Europeans, the second best neighborhoods were for Asians, the poorest neighborhoods were for Africans. All social amenities that were provided by the colonial state were provided on the basis of identity. One of the tragedies of independent African states is that we inherited colonial governments. We inherited a colonial state that is used to offer services purely based on identity. And that is a legacy, that is one of the tragedies of colonialism. Now, I'm not saying that there were no ethnic conflicts before colonialism. That's not what I'm saying. I'm a historian. Obviously, there were conflicts among Africans like there were conflicts among all human beings. What I am saying, however, is that the modern state, the nation state in Africa, how it functions, it functions as a legacy of colonialism, and the legacy of colonialism in Africa is to divide, is to use identity, is to include and to exclude at the same time. And so one of the projects of decolonization that we have as the youth of Africa, one of the projects of decolonization that we have is we have to reinvent the nation state in Africa. It has to be a nation state that does not use identity to decide who gets services and who does not, who gets privileges and who does not. It has to be a state that includes everyone and sees everyone as a human being, sees everyone as an equal human being who is deserving of respect and who is deserving of protection by the state. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Brother Moki. And I think there he was trying, he gave us a picture of how this conflict or complex also relates with other things that are happening on the African continent, and how it also has been influenced by our history and what Africa has gone through in the past. All right, so we're still going on with the program, and the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to show a few images and videos from what is actually happening in Cameroon, what is actually happening in southern Cameroon. I will say this, some of the videos are very disturbing and some of the pictures are very disturbing. So if you are faint at heart, maybe close your eyes, I think. Yeah. We will not have sound, but this is for us to actually know what is happening, because if we only talk about it in terms of words, you cannot actually picture what is happening on the ground. So the reason why we have this segment is for you to actually know that there are young men that are being mutilated, young women that are being raped and killed, and their families that have actually been destroyed. Right?
Yeah, just give me a second.
And after this video, what we're going to do, I'm going to ask everyone, starting with the first row, we're going to move to the brick area outside. So as we go out, we're going to walk to that corner there, collect a candle, then we're going to go outside to the brick area. Right. But first we'll go through the presentation, and then I will try direct us to the candles and to the brick area where we're going to light the candles. Right.
Give me a second.
Before we go into this, can I just say a few things?
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is so unexpected, but I'm from Ethiopia, and I know that a lot is going on in Africa in general, but I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys have heard about the new political transformation Ethiopia is going to, and there has been a lot of killing, genocides. I mean, I can't really compare compare to Cameroon and what's going on in other African countries, but human rights violation is human rights violation regardless. So when we do our prayers today, I would kindly want to request you guys to remember what's Ethiopian. I want you guys to put that in your heart, and that's just a kindly request. Thank you so much.
So, basing on what she has said, what I will say is we are here and we're talking mainly about Cameroon, but as youth from the African continent, we know that each African nation has its own set of problems, and the top list of that is human rights violation. Again, especially even in Zimbabwe, even in Nigeria, it happens when people disappear because they oppose the political idea or have a different political idea. And this is our move as African youth to unite across the whole continent to fight against this abuse. You're from Ethiopia, I'm from Zimbabwe, but today we're here focusing on Cameroon, and we'll have Ethiopia in our mind, we'll have Kenya in our mind, and we can start building from this a united force that will seek to solve problems for the whole of Africa. And looking at the African continent, it has an average of about 26 years when it comes to the population and how the age is distributed. So we, the young, can actually change what is happening on the continent, as long as we have our head in the right place. All right.
Sorry, I was about to do something.
Are we ready, madam?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay.
We're ready. Sorry guys, just give me a second. I'm not a technology person, so let me it's opening, so this is it right here. So it says opening when complete, so I think it's about to.
It's a PowerPoint, right?
Yes. I think it's too many pictures, so it's loading. He's the journalist who took it, so you can introduce yourself. Please introduce yourself because you're the you.
All right.
Are we ready to roll it? Okay, thank you. Hello. Hi. Why is everybody looking very sad? It's because you've seen viewer discretion? Longer is care. Anyway, I want to thank you guys very much, and to let you know that today is a special day for us as a people. When I say us, I'm talking about Southern Cameroonians. Can I, just 1 minute, can I have those names? I have some of our brothers who came from very far away, and I'm going to acknowledge them before we get to the pictures that we're trying to display. We hope everything is okay. And is it okay?
No, I think we're having the file is huge. It's a huge file.
Oh, okay.
It's Google. I'm sorry. That one.
All right.
No, this is rolling. This is rolling. It's open. Oh, it's open. Oh, finally.
It's open?
Is it? Oh.
I think it opened down at the bottom.
Where is it?
Right here. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Right there, yes.
Oh. Oh my God. Am I ready? Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I'll just, since the images are there, we'll just talk before I say some other things. I'm Eric Tato. I'm actually from Manu Division in the southwest of what used to be known as the Republic of Cameroon, which we are now clamoring for the restoration of our own state known as AMBAZONIA, that's the Federal Republic of AMBAZONIA. I'm a journalist, and I run an online newspaper or blog or whatever I want to call it, but normally we have a physical newspaper that used to exist in the country, but because of the social injustice against Anglophones, the government has shut down my businesses. So I cannot operate the paper, they target my workers and stuff like that. So if you go on Facebook, we have an official Facebook page, National Telegram, I think Diane is aware. So that is where you can get a lot of the things that happen. So our media organ is going to be giving you first-hand information about some of the things that have been happening on the ground. And that is to let you know that you as African students can be ambassadors talking against this genocide that is going on in southern Cameroon, worse than Rwanda. And you'll be shocked. I pray that the pictures are going to open.
Yeah, they're opening.
Okay, so that's why they say viewers' discretion is advised. They are very strong images. Why she's going to be going around, I'm going to explain some things to you. This is a man who was killed only today. The military went into his house in a village called Mushe. Mushe is a village in the southwest of the English region. They killed him. He couldn't go ahead. They killed him and then killed his wife and 3 of his children. While they're sliding, you're going to see these are dead people that the military is killing, and they are armed civilians. You can see people that have been killed. This is southern Cameroon, and it's just unfortunate that the hall is not very bright, but I think basically this is another man who was killed in his house. The military had to break his house, destroy his house, and of course you see he's buried in the blocks. So that's what's happening in that country. And you would be shocked that more than 8,000, as at now, we should be at 9,000 unarmed, innocent civilians that have been killed. This is the little girl who was killed today in Mushe. Mushe is just a village beside Mbeme, so the military went there, you can see an unarmed child, basically with nothing to offer in terms of defense. This is another person that was burnt in his residence. The military comes to your house, makes sure if you hide somewhere in the ceiling or somewhere that they can't find you, they ensure that they put petrol, gas, and inflame your house. So we are talking about the worst kind of genocide that is going on in the 21st century. And thank you. Before we continue, we are glad to say that I will interrupt this slideshow. Just another very important picture. This is the most tragic thing that has happened. Not because his life is more than the 9,000 people that have been killed, but this is an American missionary. He comes from Indiana. His name is Reverend Charles Truman Westcott. He was shot and killed by the military in a town called Bambui in northwest of Cameroon. He was in Cameroon with his wife and 8 children. He sold all of his property and was living in the English regions of Cameroon that we now call AMBAZONIA, like my brother explained to you. And the military, because they have that emptiness, that brutality, they targeted this missionary from the state of Indiana, they killed him, and they're trying to blame it on the innocent population. Let's go to more pictures. I think this is the Bishop of Manfi. So this is not some fiction. That's why I've selected some of these pictures. Can you go back to that? That was the bishop you saw there. He was visiting a village called Kembong. Kembong is in Manu division, where the military went to that village, raided the village, killed people, and then destroyed almost all of the houses. You must have heard of Kwakwa, so that is the bishop that was visiting to sympathize with the Christian community of that village. And so that is exactly what the military does. BBC has reported on military brutality on an armed civilian population of the people who do have their rights in terms of their own country as far back as 1961. So that is the bishop. Then this is a handicapped, a physically challenged person that was killed, because people were running away, he could not run. Ask yourself this question, that if a military can kill unarmed civilians, and then what's more, kill somebody who is on the wheelchair. I mean, I want you to understand the rate of human rights violations that's going on in that country. And for people who have their own rights, please, more pictures. This is still Reverend Westcott was shot in the head. And just go to more pictures. This is a lady, unarmed civilian, was shot, dragged out of her house and killed. This is still another human being that was killed. You look at this man, he's helpless. His house has been burnt down completely. This is a peasant, a farmer who has nothing. And then you go without any harm. Look at this lady, she's crying. This happened in one area in the northwest known as precisely, let me say, Ndonga Mantung division. It's a county in AMBAZONIA. I'm trying to use the both language that you understand in terms of history. So these are still people who have been killed. They are very, okay, now this picture is very significant to me and for you to learn. You know, the military has a technique. You see, this is a woman with loin, or what you call wrapper. Will you say that because she has a gun on her, is she a fighter? Will that woman look to you like a fighter? Huh? Nobody can say that this woman actually had a gun. So this is exactly what the military does. The military came, raped this woman, killed the husband, killed the child, and then placed arms on them, guns, so that they would take those pictures and put it to the world. Take those pictures, show America, show other parts of the world that this woman is a fighter. Who would accept that? Look at this. So sometimes they are so badly punished by God that they are unable to fix their lives so well. That is why we have it. These are people who were burnt alive. It's happening in southern Cameroon. These people were burnt alive in a village called Baba 2 in the northwest of AMBAZONIA. Can we go to more pictures? These are the people you see. Dead bodies. This is a missionary too, a seminarian. You know, he was coming out of the church with his rosary, and then the military shot him at point blank, coming out from the church. These pictures are very graphic, they're terrible. These are houses that are being burnt down on daily basis in AMBAZONIA. A population of 10 million people, though my brother said 8 million, but it's 10, I think, going by that. And the people, these are bullets. You see, the military shoots, they come to a village, they shoot indiscriminately. And God always allows evidences and stuff like that. This is a priest that was shot on the leg. And you know, these are documented facts. And of course, more houses being burned. These are still people that have been killed, and they are wrapped as to show that they are separatists, they are fighters. So the military has a technique. You see, this is a business, a man's business, a shop. The military gets there, they destroy what they can destroy, they steal all their goods and chattels. And without what is going on, you look at somebody's shop, you go to a village, you destroy everything. That's an innocent man that had been held, and then he was later executed and burnt alive, like you see in those other pictures. And these are all bike riders that have been killed, and they are attacked as fighters. And so, go on some more. Okay, that picture you saw the Ambazonian flag, like it's shown here, because they assume that when they have it with the flag, these are people that have been arrested. You can see the military man sitting behind them after wounding and shooting innocent people to put them in the backs of trucks as though they are animals. More pictures. See, that one is a family. 7 people who were killed. Okay, it's ended. I think we didn't have all the pictures, but that is very okay. That is fine. Next time we'll have the opportunity to show a lot of those pictures. Before I continue, we have a guest of honor in here. I think it's not going to be my place to introduce him. In AMBAZONIA, where I am fighting for that country, where she's fighting, where he's fighting, where he's fighting, where he too is fighting. We are 10 million of us fighting for the restoration of that country. We have a leader. We have a team known as the interim government of the Federal Republic of AMBAZONIA. And of course, we have our leaders in jail, but we have somebody who is acting as the president of that country. We like to call it a visual country, but of course we have His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome. So I'm going to end here, and just one more thing. We have 54 countries in Africa, and we know that you can either be probably Eritrea, Ethiopia, Togo, Gabon, Chad, wherever you come from. I want to urge you to be an ambassador of our cry. Take these things to your countries, to your embassies, and show your people that you have a group of people who have been killed when they have no way to defend themselves. Thank you very much.
I thank you very much for that graphic presentation. I think it allows us to relate to what is actually happening on the ground. From here on, what we're going to do is we're going to go out to the Greek area and we're going to light the candles. And the choir which will present there is going to sing for us a song, and then we will join them in singing the song. And from there we can come back to this area, then share, discuss, ask questions, and go go deeper conversation. But for now, as you're walking outside the door, you're going to have ladies that are going to guide you to the brick area. Please make sure that you pick up a candle on your way there, then they will lead you to the brick area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Stay online. We are going outside now to light the candle on behalf of all the over 9,000 people that have died. We just had the arrival of Dr. Samuel Sako, the acting president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. He came with his PA, Mr. Sebastian. And of course, we have another great Ambazonia that has driven all the way over
from Huntington.
Come again?
From Huntington.
Yeah, he has come all the way to this event, over 4 hours drive.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. We're going out for the candle now, and we have many more Amazonians who are here. This Alex. Alex is coming all the way from Maryland. Yeah. So we. So we're going for the candle video now, and then we'll round up the event. God bless you. Stay online. I think the main event is downstairs. Okay. Downstairs. So you have the treasure. Let's go down. All right. Thank you. Keep following. God bless you. We're going for the video. So that is the spirit of Ambazonia. Once you join, you share extensively, and you make sure that we get to everybody. You see people picking up candles here. I'm going to take my own candle. Thank you. Give me here. Thank you so much. Okay. That's my own candle. So we're going to be putting on this candle on behalf of all the Ambazonians that have died, that have lost their lives fighting for freedom of motherland, what they call now the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be joining you guys live on this live broadcast. We're going to be ending this broadcast very soon. We want to thank the entire university community of West Virginia, especially the African Student Union. I was just going to talk to some students. Hey, how you doing, man? You okay? What's your name?
My name is Kenny.
Kenny, you come from which particular country?
From Nigeria.
From Nigeria?
Yeah.
So, are you going to be an ambassador for the genocide in Southern Cameroon?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be an ambassador for for proclaiming the bad effects going on in Southern Cameroon now. It's so bad, and I was so saddened when I heard about it. And I'm going to proclaim it on my Facebook page, Twitter page, and everywhere. And I'm going to spread the news across until the international community does something about it.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Hey, how you doing? You a student too? No, I'm not sure.
Can we go out?
I'm gonna, you're a student of... Excuse me?
Morgantown, what's it? We can do the interviews like that.
Yeah, we're going down, exactly. That's fine. So, oh, the candles, right. Okay, they say we have to go down to the candles. And we have a lot of these students here. We'll talk to Alex. Alex, how do you feel being here as an Ambazonian?
Being in West Virginia University today is actually a pleasure for me, not only because I come from the Southern Cameroon. I'm actually delighted because I've seen the unity that the students from Africa and the worldwide are trying to do everything possible to cry and stop the genocide that's being perpetrated in Southern Cameroon.
Thank you so much.
That is not all. We are going to do everything possible to tell Dictator Paul Biya that everything being equal, we are going to defend, we are going to restore our independence, and we are going to defend our restored independence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Alex. Alex is an Ambazonian, as you want to call it. We also have a lot of students and African students. We have 54 African countries, and basically almost all of them are represented here. And today, they have been challenged to be ambassadors for the movement. We're going down for the candle, and that's going to be the last thing we're going to be doing today before we will be driving back all the way to the DMV area, over 7 hours to and fro. But it's worth it, though. We thank you all. And we're right here again for the candle. We're going down this way. That's great. So you're welcome to this special live broadcast of National Telegraph. I am Eric Tato Otano, welcoming you once again in the University of West Virginia. We're happy that you're following, fervent followers of National Telegraph, and we thank you for your, patience in trying to follow us. And God bless you once more. So we're going to be putting the candle out there for Southern Cameroonians, and so that's exactly the power of the media. So we will say a big thank you once more to all those who've been following. So particularly to say thank you so much, and that you matter a lot, your contribution. You know, you'll be following very closely, and today we're discussing the Southern Cameroon's issue. And thank you. We'll go straight away, follow the students where they will be putting out those candles to ensure that they honor the lives of close to at least 9,000 Southern Cameroonians that have died. We're glad, and for those of you who are watching what many Ambazonians now call Ground Zero, we are 9 minutes after 7 p.m. in West Virginia. Suddenly it will be exactly 9 minutes after midnight, and we thank you all very much. Those of you who have keep sharing once you join. We are moving, so somehow we have a shaky connection. We might be ending this live show sooner, because as soon as we have the candle put on behalf of the 9,000 people who have died, we are going to be thanking you. So stay with us. It's night time here already, so we trying to catch all the images we can. And you know, we have 54 African countries, and we have a huge representation here.
I think you need to be louder. Can we all come together, please? Hello? Can we move closer?
Oh, yeah. That. Make sure you have the stuff. Sometimes we post on the.
So we are going to witness this very important ritual. We know it's dark.
Please let's light our candle, please.
Well, it seems it's going to be very difficult to get this candle on, because it's, you know, somebody's suggesting that while the wind is blowing, they can raise the candles up even without having them lit it. I think it's still going to serve the purpose. They're trying to the wind.
Alright, I got it.
And
Yeah, we think we have wind. Already lit it.
Why did you come forward and see? We're supposed to be
And they are putting the candles on now. The president, the acting president of the Federal Republic of AMBAZONIA is, of course, putting his own candle now, Dr. Samuel Ikomisako. That has been well received by the West Virginia community. It's really, you know, the win is very huge here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are grateful. God bless you. We'll be leaving you at this juncture. And of course, don't forget, these are fellow Ambazonians who are here. Mr. Sebastian is here. And you can see some Ambazonians who have driven all the way to come here to ensure that this candle night goes well. And tell you, Alex is a patriotic Southern Cameroonian. He's always been here. And there is Yaya Patou, who is also here. And of course, Ernest coming.
Yeah, who is coordinating AMBAZONIA. It's a project that we are collecting over-the-counter medication and shipping to Nigeria to our refugees. We've been doing this. We did this at Marshall University. So I will be speaking to the students tonight so that if they can contribute just a bottle of Tylenol, a bottle of vitamin, we will send it to our refugees and we'll help them tremendously.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. If everyone has their candle well lit, what we're going to start with is we're going to have a moment of silence. Then after that, we will have the choir and we'll join in a song. All right? Let's have a moment of silence.
They're observing a moment of silence now for all Southern Cameroonians who have died, 9,000 of them, massacred intentionally by the regime of Mr. Biya, who is over close to 90 years and has been ruling as a monarch since 1982. That's a minute of silence, because you know Mr. Biya has just been re-elected very dubiously, because the spirit is high.
All right, thank you. We have the choir. They're going to tell us the song that they're going to sing, and we will join in if we know the lyrics to the song. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So the first song will be Lord, make us instrument of your peace.
If you're following here, you can...
If you know the song, you can join. Lord, make us instruments of your